Hello. I'm going to talk about my opinions on political things right here. Right, so I guess you'd say, an independent person, right? I can't even vote right now, so I don't know what the point of this is. I just feel like everyone else speaks their shit. I don't enjoy speaking about any of this. It's really not fun. It ruins friendships, ruins relationships, all of that. It just terrifies, ruins everything, right? And so I'm independent. I think there's good points on both Democratic and Republican parties, but I think I see the biggest flaws with our country as a whole. And one of those is each side appeals to the idiots of each group. If you are on the left, all you say is Black Lives Matter, all cops are bad. On the right, all you say as an idiot is guns don't kill people, people kill people, all lives matter, right? And so that's the problem. And that's a large percent of the vote because nobody does their fucking research on this shit because they don't care. Nobody cares enough to select a president through research because social media just rips through shit. Post one thing and people are going to believe you because it's on the internet. And unfortunately, I've fallen for it too. I've just been like, I believe that because I see it on my screen. It's believable, right? You shouldn't even believe what I'm saying. I'm just speaking what I feel like is right, right? And so the flaws are that like we appeal to these idiots of the country, right? And so those idiots have I think a large percentage of the vote, and so they get their vote. But then like I don't even know. It's just like there's obviously some kind of a problem, right? It's just right there. We're so close to going over and it being a huge problem and so close to fixing it. Like we're right there on the brink. And if this election could either overthrow that or fix it. And here's the problem with this election, right? So on one side, if you're on the left, Biden's a hero, Trump's the devil. And if you're on the right, Trump's a hero, Biden's a fucking devil, right? And so but both of them are being charged with rape, assault, or like claims and shit. I don't even know if they're true. I haven't done my research, right? But I just heard that both of them are. And apparently both are in money laundering or whatever the fuck the other thing was. They both had stuff to do with Epstein, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, why are they able to even run for president at that? Like, shouldn't there be another way? Like, anybody at all. There's got to be somebody else who can run for president who's not going to be a 70-year-old man who has rape charges on him and is racist. Because both of them have said some pretty racy shit. That's for sure. You cannot deny that. Just go look at speeches they've said. That's pretty racy, bro. Fucking, what was it? Biden said, I believe that the poor kid is just as good as the white kid. Huh? No, not okay, right? I don't know any Trump ones off the top of my head. I just saw that Biden one in a video earlier, so that one was in my head. But so that's the problem. And this is the first election I've ever seen where kids actually give more of a shit than any adult I've ever seen. Like if I go and ask an adult what they think of this presidential election, they're like, I really don't give a shit. I'll look at it whenever it comes, and then I'll vote then, right? Now I've only asked a few, but like that's what I've really gotten. And then if I go and ask a kid who's like around my age, 17, and they're like Biden for president or Trump for president, 2020, 2020 for life, 2024, 2028, right? And they just go on this blabber and then they just speak all these random ass stuff. They're like, yeah, don't vote Biden. He likes to sniff kids and shit. Like, okay, that's not a reason. That's an assumption. I mean, yeah, there are those really weird ass videos of Biden doing what looks like smelling kids, right? But I don't know for sure, so I don't care, right? And so the thing is these kids just seem to care more than these adults, and they can't even vote. But then if I've asked them, I'm like, why do you care so much if you can't even vote? And here's their response every single time. It's, I'm still allowed to have an opinion on my country. Right. Not wrong. That's right. That is very right. But I don't see why you have to shove your fucking opinion down everyone's throat. You ever try and just have a normal conversation with somebody who has different political views with you? Very fucking hard. Very hard. Because it always ends up with, no, you're wrong. Actually, no. Neither one of us is wrong. Because there are two parties in this country, Republican and Democrat, right? And it's been like almost 250 years of America, right? And so you'd think if one of those was wrong, it would go away and there would only be one way to rule this country. What has not happened? That. So there are still two ways to run this country. And I'm sure there's other, because I've heard of like the greenhouse or whatever. I don't know. But two ways. Not wrong, either one. Now, to some people, one is better, and to some others, the other is better, right? But that doesn't mean it's wrong at all. So I don't see why. First off, I don't see how insulting people is a way in an argument, like a political argument. Like if you sit there and insult somebody on their appearance and be like, "That's why you like Biden because you have green hair. That's why you like Trump because you have a fucking mullet," right? Like that. How? How? Buddy, can you explain to me your logic right there? Because that is making no sense whatsoever, right? And then, like, all this, like, I go to high school, right? And so I go around and I see kids wearing Trump masks. And actually, today, a kid got in trouble because he was wearing an ACAB shirt, right? I had no problem. I don't support ACAB myself, but I had no problem with it because that's his opinion, right? And it's fine to wear. But if he can't wear that in school, neither should the Trump kids be able to. It's the same reason that God is not like talked about in school. It's because not everyone is it, right? And so you can't shove Christianity down their throat like they did back in the old school days, right? And so you can't you can't teach about it or like show it in your school if it's not something that everyone agrees with. Everyone agrees on math. Everyone agrees on English. Sure, you listen to racy stuff in English, but it's because it's old literature and like you have to read it. But everyone agrees on science for the most part. Like there's still some people who are like, well, science is whack. What are you talking about, right? In history, history is history. You can't disagree with history. And so that's stuff that stays there. But God was taken out because not everyone agreed with God. Like Hindus didn't agree with Christianity, Buddhists didn't agree, and then all these like you couldn't make kids pray after saying the Pledge of Allegiance. You couldn't do that anymore because not everyone in the classroom was Christian, right? And so that same rule applies for these kids wearing Trump masks and hats and ACAB masks and hats. Like you shouldn't be allowed to do that on either side. It's not one side gets to pick and the other side can't. Either side should not be allowed to. I think that's the only fair way to do it. It's either side doesn't get to or both sides do get to. That's the only way it can be. And now then you have a whole new problem. If you allow both of those, then you allow Christianity to come back into schools, right? In a way, not exactly to the point where you're teaching it, because they're just expressing it on themselves, right? So it would really just be a kid expressing, like, say, Jesus on a cross on a shirt. That's how it would be, all right? And so that's what I think of that right there. Um, I don't know if I have anything else to add to that. Let me think. I talked about racy. Yeah, I think it's good. See you later, man.